Christine Grahame is a Scottish politician. She has been the member of the Scottish Parliament for the Midlothian South, Tweeddale and Lauderdale, having previously been a member for the South of Scotland region, first elected in the 1999 election and subsequently re-elected in 2003 and 2007. Early life: Grahame was born on September 9, 1944 in Burton-on-Trent, Staffordshire, England and brought up in Edinburgh. She attended the University of Edinburgh and, after graduating, worked as a teacher. She later returned to Edinburgh University as a mature student where she earned a law degree, and afterwards she practised as a solicitor. Political career: Grahame joined the Scottish National Party in 1970. Using her married name, Christine Creech, she was the SNP candidate at the 1992 general election for Tweeddale, Ettrick and Lauderdale. In 1994 she stood for election to the European Parliament, again unsuccessfully. At the 1999 Scottish Parliament election she fought Tweeddale, Ettrick and Lauderdale again. Although she finished second, her position on the SNP regional list took her to Holyrood, after which she divorced and reverted to her maiden name. She contested Tweeddale, Ettrick and Lauderdale at both the 2003 and 2007 elections, coming within 1,000 votes of victory on both occasions. In 2004, she ran as a candidate for deputy leader of the SNP after the resignation of leader John Swinney propelled deputy leader Rosanna Cunningham into the contest to replace him. After the election she was reshuffled from chair of the Scottish Parliament's Health Committee to Shadow Minister for Social Justice, generally seen by media commentators as an upwards shift. In June 2005, she was elected honorary president of the Federation of Student Nationalists. In 2009, she took up the cause of a National Library of Scotland employee, who had been admonished for placing what NLS management called an excessive display of several large satire and lion rampant flags around his workstation, calling it a deliberate assault on our national flag. In the 2011 Scottish parliamentary election, Grahame won the redrawn seat of Midlothian South, Tweeddale and Lauderdale, defeating former Liberal Democrat finance spokesman Jeremy Purvis. Republicanism: Grahame is a supporter of the political organisation Republic, a campaign to replace the British monarchy with an elected head of state. In July 2009, Grahame snubbed Elizabeth II by checking her emails rather than attending the royal speech at Holyrood to mark the 10th anniversary of Scottish devolution. The move drew critical comment from bloggers as well as from other MSPs, with Lord Folks remarking she has a particular axe to grind here. "This is boring for Scotland, she just goes on and on." Former presiding officer George Reid described the absence as sad. However, on the BBC Radio Good Morning Scotland programme, Grahame stated, "I'm earning and working for my constituents far more than if I sit hypocritically in the chamber watching a monarch for an institution I do not support." Prison visitor: in May 2009, Grahame visited the man convicted over the Lockerbie bombing, Abdul Basit al-Megrahi, in Greenock Jail. After her visit, she told the press, "I found it quite upsetting. The man is obviously very ill and he is desperate to see his family, absolutely desperate to see his family, so, whatever it takes, that's the priority. He did tell me things I can't discuss with you. But I am absolutely more convinced than ever that there has been a miscarriage of justice." A month later, Grahame arranged a second meeting with the prisoner, Megrahi. A few days after the dropping of Megrahi's appeal against conviction and his release on compassionate grounds on August 20, 2009, Grahame wrote an op-ed article for The Independent saying she is convinced of his innocence. "He is not a saint, of course he had a history with Libyan intelligence but his hands are clean over Lockerbie. For you should recall that 5 months before the bombing of Pan Am Flight 103 on that dark, wild December night just before Christmas in 1988, an American military cruiser, the Vincennes, shot down an Iranian passenger plane carrying 290 pilgrims. No one has been charged, let alone prosecuted, over that, even though it was all captured on film." International inquiry: on November 24, 2009, Christine Grahame lodged the following motion at the Scottish Parliament: that the Parliament supports the establishment of an international inquiry into the circumstances that led to the blowing up of Pan Am 103 over Lockerbie in December 1988 that murdered 270 passengers, and urges all relevant Scottish authorities to cooperate with it. Further supports that such an inquiry should also consider the relationship of that atrocity to the shooting down of Iranian Flight 655 over the Straits of Hormuz 5 months before by a U.S. warship, which claimed the lives of 290 passengers, and urges the international community to pursue, investigate and bring to justice all those ultimately responsible for these 2 terrorist attacks, which it considers constitute crimes against humanity. References. External links: Christine Grahame MSP Scottish Parliament webpage, Christine Grahame SNP biography, What's Happening in the Scottish Parliament biography from First Term of Scottish Parliament.